in the world. It was in Beijing and then London, then Lagos and Abuja. In Beijing, we went there for a very interesting discussion at the invitation of the Communist Party of China. You know, the Communist Party of China invited us and other people from around the world to discuss an important issue. It was a bit startling for us as Africans. They wanted us to discuss the issue of corruption in ruling parties. Now, this is the ruling party of China. And they said, let us meet to discuss this matter of corruption in ruling parties. And we, the Chinese, are going to tell you about corruption in our party. And they did. It brought all sorts of people to explain what was happening with this corruption and its impact in terms of political governance, in terms of economic development, in terms of everything. It was a fascinating discussion. And indeed, and as I say, the topic was corruption in the ruling party. Now, none of us, certainly the Africans who were there, we didn't talk about that as far as our ruling parties are concerned. We're quite happy to comment on what the Chinese Communist Party is. I'm mentioning it because it was fascinating that they have that kind of courage to look at themselves and to say, but here is a problem which is impacting negatively on everything that we're trying to do in China, and therefore we must address it openly. They even brought members of the judiciary there because they explained what the party itself is doing to fight corruption in its ranks, but how the state, also the courts, the police, and so on, interact with that to ensure that the state system is not intimidated by the fact of the ruling party to say that this is a member of the Politburo and whatever, and therefore they are untouchable. But for the party to be saying to the state organs, if we, the Communist Party, are fighting this thing against our own membership, the responsibility of the state are according to the law. And you can't say, because these are people who are high in the party and government and so on, are therefore untouchable. Now, I don't know if this is going to be part of your program of action tomorrow. Because indeed, that is an important challenge on our continent. I think if we look around throughout the continent, it really will be very difficult to find a ruling party that has no corruption in it. I think it would be extremely difficult. That would challenge everybody. Obenewa was challenging people to raise their hands. I'd ask anybody to tell me one ruling party on the continent that's not touched by corruption. And I know there's no hand that's going to go up. It's an important challenge because of its impact. It's bad in itself, but it has an impact on all of these things we're trying to do. This invention of the future and then this change of the status quo is this one of the matters on which the Alumni Forum should focus. But certainly, for those of us who were in Beijing, we found this a very important challenge, and drew great inspiration from the fact that the Communist Party of China could so openly and consistently discuss this matter, including mentioning names. I think at that point when we were there, that's 3.5 weeks ago, the highest person at that point that had been caught in the party system, and the party was dealing with this, was a member of the Central Committee, was responsible for intelligence throughout China. And so they were saying this person involved in corruption in the following way, and therefore the party must take whatever disciplinary action it does, and later the state organs would also take their own actions. I'm giving that as an example of the challenge that this alumni forum is going to face, to identify what are these interventions we want to make on the continent. And I'm saying that they won't be easy if we want to be as effective as we indeed need to be effective. Then I was saying that I went to London